Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to walk you through the process of purchasing your first investment property. This video is not only applicable for the people who are trying to invest for the first time, but also for anyone that wants to buy a house for the first time. So if you are here to understand the process, stick around. It is no secret that the housing market has been completely insane in the past 2 years. Starting the COVID-19 in 2020, first, we had a lack of inventory because everybody was scared to put their house for sale. And then in 2022, as interest rates declined, they were near historic low, or probably the lowest they've ever been. There was a boom of house sales. I feel like real estate agents in 2021 made the most money they've ever made.
We're not gonna go crazy spending our winnings, and we're not gonna let this money change us.
What are you talking about? This money is our ticket to the good life. Starting now. I just bought a giant room full of gold coins, and I'm gonna dive into it like Scrooge McDuck.
It was complete insanity. Every house that would go in the market here in Florida would sell within a couple of hours with multiple offers. But that's not the scenario anymore. With Federal Reserve tightening their monetary policy and increasing interest rates, mortgage rates went from mid-2s and low 3s to now mid-5s and soon to be 6%. Why am I saying all of this? I think with how the market is, we have to see a correction. In fact, in July, the house prices declined for the first time in 3 years, and the drop was the highest since 2011, according to CNBC. It seems that the house market peaked, and we're about to see a nice decline. Before you even consider buying a house, you need to make sure you have a down payment ready. At the time of recording this video, lenders require at least 20% down payment towards your purchase. If you're buying a house for yourself and not as an investment, and you're considering to live in it, you can put down about 3 to 5% and then pay PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. I do not suggest doing that. If you can put down more money, you should, because it gives you a bigger safety net and leaves more money in your pocket every month. One, because your payment is going to be lower, and two, because you don't have to pay PMI. So if you're watching this video and you only have like $5,000 saved up and you're planning on buying a $400,000 house, start strategizing how you can come up with more money, because you won't be able to buy a house tomorrow. Assuming that you have the down payment ready, you need to go and get pre-qualified. And in order for you to get pre-qualified, you will need to talk to a lender. Now, don't go just with the first lender you found on Google. Do your research, go on Yelp, go on Google, read the reviews, and then shop around. It took me a couple of tries to find a lender that I really liked and I wanted to work with. He was one of the best in the area, and I enjoyed working with him. In order for you to get pre-qualified, you'll need a good credit score. Lenders typically ask for a credit score of 720 or above for you to get the best rates. If your credit score is lower than 720, if it's at 500 or 600 right now, don't even bother getting pre-qualified. Instead, go on a website like creditkarma.com, or there are other websites that will provide you with a free credit score. I'm not endorsed by creditkarma.com, but I've been using them for years, and they are a great source to find out what your credit score is and what your credit report is. And you can go on your credit report, find out what is dragging your score down, and figure out how to get rid of those things. There are a ton of videos on YouTube, and if you want me to make my own video of how to fix your credit, leave a comment below. But there are a ton of videos. Don't pay for this crap. You can do it yourself. If there's a collection on your credit report, you can call the agency and you can negotiate for a deletion. Let's say you have a debt of $600. You can probably negotiate that down to $100. I've done it before. It's not hard. You can just talk to them. Just try to talk to them.
I just want to talk to him.
Wait, why do you have a shotgun?
I just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk.
Now, besides your credit score, your lender will need to see your tax returns. The lender will need to see 6 months of your bank statements to see if there is money for a down payment and closing costs, and to determine where the money came from. They also will need a proof of employment. They will need proof of any liabilities you have and proof of any assets you have. You will have to get all those documents together, prepared for your lender to confirm that you're truly eligible for the loan. The whole process takes about 30 to 35 days, sometimes a little longer, depending on if there's any discoverables during the inspection period in your house. We will get into the inspection a little later in this video. The lender will need to see 2 years of your taxes. Now, based on those 2 years of your taxes, let's say you made $75,000 in a year of 2021 and you made $125,000 in a year of 2022. He will take an average of 2 years. So based on those numbers, you made an average of $100,000. The lender will use a 28% rule. If you're bringing in, or your income is $10,000 a month, you can multiply those $10,000 by 0.28. The payment you are eligible for is $2,800. The lender will also need to look at your debt to income ratio. As a guideline, you cannot be above 36% of debt to income ratio to qualify for a conventional loan. Expect to provide a whole bunch of documents in the beginning of the application and expect to provide more supporting documents somewhere closer towards your closing date, maybe about 4 or 5 days before closing date. The process is stressful, it's tedious, there's a lot of variables, a lot of things could potentially go wrong. Be prepared. The more paperwork you have to support your case, the better it is, the easier it'll be for you and the lender. Yeah, have all your paperwork, all your ducks in a row. Once you have the down payment and once you got pre-qualified and you have all the documentations, you want to start looking at the houses. And that's probably the most fun part for some people, or very frustrating for others, depending on the market you're in. If you are in a seller's market, it's probably going to be frustrating because you're going to look at a whole bunch of houses. You're going to find the ones you are loving, just to learn that the bid you just placed has been outbid. You just have to look at as many properties as you can to find that perfect deal, and that perfect deal might not be there because everything has to make sense. You can't just fall in love with the property if the numbers do not make sense and jump on it thinking that that property is gonna make money for you. Because remember, don't fall in love with the property, fall in love with the numbers as well. If the numbers do not make sense, please, for the sake of your wallet and your pocket, don't try to buy a house you cannot afford. When it comes to me, I look at everything in the market and my price range within the area I want to purchase. So I'm not going to look at the whole city. There are areas that I'm simply not interested in. You know, I see anywhere from 20 to 30 houses until I make my decision. I usually look at the houses where I can add value. And what I mean by that is all the big ticket numbers have been taken care of, like AC, plumbing, electrical, roofing. Everything is either brand new or newish, has been replaced in the past few years, so that I don't have to worry about replacing those things as soon as I close on a house. Last thing I want to do is replace a roof or start paying to repair a foundation as soon as I close on the house, because that's going to be, you know, 20, 30, maybe potentially $50,000 out of my pocket. Instead, I find houses that have all these big ticket items taken care of, and I concentrate on doing a lipstick renovation, painting the walls, you know, potentially replacing countertop, flooring, anything that adds cosmetical value to the house, but in return can increase the rent value by a lot. By investing about $30,000 into making the place pretty, ROI, return on your investment, is going to increase substantially. Some of those items in the beginning you can probably even do yourself, like laminate flooring you can replace yourself. Which brings me to another point that I want to make. If you are buying a house to rent, do not go in all out, right? Do not put expensive floors, like hardwood floors that will get scratched and damaged. Do not put crazy expensive countertops. Make the place presentable, make the place pretty, make the place clean, but try to get durable materials that are cheap. Why? Because your tenants will break it. Your tenants will find a way to break it. They always do. If you are in an area where the houses are outside of your budget, you might want to just look outside of your city or even outside of your state. I personally don't do that because I like to invest where I am located in order to stay in control. 1, because I self-manage. 2, because I'm a control freak. 3, because I understand the market and the market trends here. So you found the property, now you got to run your numbers. The most important thing about investing into real estate is cash flow. Without cash flow, it makes no sense to invest. And I've made a couple of videos before talking about cash flow. For the sake of the video, I'm going to go over it one more time. A property cash flows if your income after all your expenses brought by the property is positive. So positive cash flow, or property has negative cash flow if your expenses are higher than your income. So let's give it an example. Let's say you bought a property for $400,000 and your down payment was 20%, which would equate to $80,000, and your payment should look something like $2,550, accounting for property insurance and property taxes. Now you should also consider about $200 in miscellaneous expenses and about $250 in vacancy. So you should account for $3,000 of expenses in month. So in order for you to make money, you need to make more than $3,000. For the sake of this example, let's say you're bringing in $4,000 in income. So your rent is $4,000. So your cash flow is $1,000, which is on an $80,000 investment, about 15% ROI. You're not done here though. You're also paying down the loan in a form of principal. So in the first year, you should bring in or pay down about $4,798 in principal. So hypothetically, the first year, your property, considering this scenario, should generate about $16,798, which would equate to 21% of ROI on your money. So that's why I always say the numbers really need to make sense. If the numbers make sense, do everything in your power to lock in that deal. Assuming you found the property, you ran your numbers, you did your analysis, everything makes sense. Now you have to submit an offer. And in order to submit an offer, unless you're representing yourself, which I do not recommend. You could, but I don't recommend that. You need a realtor to submit an offer for you, and don't go with just anyone. The barrier of entry to become a real estate agent is very low, and there are so many people that are real estate agents. If you are going to give somebody 3%, even though you're not paying 3%, the seller pays those 3%, but still you're giving them business, make sure that whoever you are hiring is experienced. I have interviewed several real estate agents, and I went with the one that was very experienced and understood exactly what I was trying to do. And not only she was experienced, she also had a whole contact list of people that I needed at the time, starting from inspectors to people that could repair things to cleaning people and so on and so forth. So your realtor is basically your plug. You need somebody who knows exactly what they're doing. But once you have the realtor and you have the real estate agent to submit an offer for you, and the offer has been submitted, this is when you have about 15 days, depending on the contract you sign, of inspection period. But your inspector should go through everything, and I mean everything. They should inspect everything. There is not a single house on this planet that my inspector could go in and not find something. Don't cheap out. Make sure they check everything: the roof, the AC, foundation, the plumbing, the electrical, and everything else. Do your due diligence. Once the deal is done, it's done. You can't go back and you can't renegotiate. The contract has been signed, the seller has been paid, and you are done. If there are certain discoverables that your inspector reported to you, you can bring this to the sellers, and this is great time to renegotiate. You negotiate in the beginning, the offer gets submitted, the offer gets accepted, and then the inspection period is second chance to renegotiate. You definitely have a room if there's any discoverables to see if you can get some sort of credit, or you can get the seller to repair the items that are on the list. And most of the time the sellers will repair them, or they will credit you because they want to sell the house and move on. As you move closer to your closing date, like I said earlier in the video, the lender will probably require a whole bunch more documents if there is any additional things that the underwriter has requested. If not, great, green light. You have a closing date schedule. You go to your closing date, you sign all the paperwork. Preferably you read the paperwork. It's going to be a lot of paperwork. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of paperwork. So if you don't feel, if you're one of those people that wants to sit there and read every single paper, good luck to you. You're going to be sitting there for hours. With that said, I do recommend scanning through those papers, or if you don't understand something, ask your questions. Don't be scared. Ask as many questions as you need to, because you need to understand what are you signing. Once you sign the documents, you will be handed your keys, and this is when you officially own your rental property. As soon as I get those keys, I'm usually calling my contractor, or I'm calling the people I need to call to get the things going, because I want the property ready and I want that property rented as soon as possible. Step 8 is to get your property ready to be rented out. As I said, I typically call people that I need to call, but being that you're just getting started, you'll need a contact list. So this is a perfect time to refer back to that real estate agent to see if she has any contacts she can refer you to, any recommendations. And if not, there are apps and websites that I use. I use Thumbtack and Yelp to find and vet my contractors. I read as many reviews as possible, and I typically interview anywhere from 3 to 4 contractors to see whose bid is most appealing, who offers me the best price. And then whatever the price they give you, once you go under contract with them, make sure you budget for at least 20 to 30% more, because nothing ever goes by the plan with these guys. Once they start working on your house, make sure you're on site at least once a day and you keep an eye on them. I hate to say you have to micromanage them, but you will have to micromanage them, because these guys, the contractors, have several jobs, and they usually kind of relocate their people that work under them to whoever pays the most or whoever complains most to them. So make sure you keep an eye on them, make sure that the job is getting done. Hopefully this video is very helpful for you and you proceed with buying a whole bunch of rental properties. If you like this video and you want to see more, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And as always, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.